Hello, Professor here again, and we are back for episode 57 of the Railcraft server Let's Play. And picking up right where we left off in the last episode, we're now going to have a look at the lighting, or the light part, I guess. First, I think we're just going to disable the... that's not what I want to do. We'll disable the season bar stuff. We'll comment all of this out. I'm going to use just a block comment to cover all of this. And we also don't need the processing for the generating code that it is just going to be commented out. So that's going to get rid of that. And we're going to use the dial design instead. Now the drawback of that is that certain browsers, older ones, may not support the transform property, so it's not going to work in those because the rotation is going to be assigned, but nothing will actually be rotated visually. But that shouldn't be an issue because, well, it's a niche system, this, obviously. And I am expecting everyone who would possibly be interested in this to use a modern browser. We can get rid of this, I think. So, lighting. Let's move on to the light. Let's move into the light, if you will. No? Okay. So, light in Minecraft is, of course, as it so happens, it has 16 levels, the same as redstone, including the 0, of course, which is pretty nice. So, basically, we'll receive a value from 0 to 1, indicating our global light level, as you would expect. So what we're going to do is we're going to generate a bar consisting of some squares, 15 squares, to be, or actually 16 squares. Yeah, 16. Let's do it below here, I guess. Whoops. Let's make a new div, and we'll call this, we'll give it a class of light container, and then we'll also give it an ID of light container. Actually, probably don't need the class, really. So, right. We need to have a stack of blocks, kind of. So what we're going to do is we're going to once again use PHP to generate those. So we'll have a for loop, and then we'll say we'll need 16. So we'll have, if we put less than, we'll get 15. And then we'll do that. And then we'll have an echo, and we'll have div class should be light block, I guess. We'll do like that. And Actually, we're going to do this in the opposite order. So we're going to start this off at 16. And we'll run this while I is greater than or equal to 0, and then we'll decrement I, because I want the highest light level to be at the top. And I want the ID to represent the light level. So we'll call this light level and then insert I. So this won't really do it much. I mean, it will generate our thing, but it's not going to look like anything because we haven't defined any sizes. But as you can see, we have light level 16 at the... wait, actually, we actually do want 15, so let's set this to 15 instead. Because the 16th, we want 16 total, including the 0. So the highest should be 15 there. So we're going to have to define some styles for this. So we're going to have a light block class. Spell that properly. And we're going to want a height and a width, and I'm going to start off with 50 pixels. That might not be... That might not be... That might actually be a little big. Let's go with 25. And then we'll set a background color of white for now. There. Now that's not going to do it, of course. We want these to be colored correctly depending on the light level. So trying to think of a way. So this is the lighting map, basically. So this would be 16 by 16. Let's zoom in a little bit, and then we can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, those look pretty much identical, those last two. I can tell that this one isn't. Maybe going... So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shrink this down, and I'm going to pin it on top. And then we're going to do this. So we'll have a light level 0, background color, and then I'm going to choose color and then pick this. That doesn't work. That only works inside of the... I guess what I can do instead is if I add this picture, this image, maximize please. No? Okay, go away then. If I add this there and then open that here, now I can pick colors right from here. Now we get a nice hex code there that we can put in here. And then basically we're going to do this for each level. because we want each level to have a unique color. Now it might be possible to, or it's almost certainly possible to generate these colors in some way, but I am not sure that would be worth the effort. And this also allows me to adjust the colors individually, should I feel the need to do so. So there are all our colors, and I'm actually going to do this. And then at the end, we're going to do another one. So this is a thing that IntelliJ lets me do. I can define blocks using this tag in a comment wherever in the code. It doesn't matter what the language is, as long as it supports comments, so it can ignore this bit. And then I can collapse this entire segment despite what the actual segment contains. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue picking colors here. What happens if I choose that? Nothing? Does it add it there? No? Okay, fine, whatever. Let's see. Don't actually need to close that, do I? Now the tricky part becomes remembering where I was, of course. But as long as the shade goes up. Is that not? Did I mess that up? Is that missing? I'm missing a 7. No? Dang it. Can I? No, I can't undo that. That's unfortunate. Okay, so it should be that one. Okay, it started with 1. Right. Okay. And then that was that one. That ought to be the next one. It's a bit tedious, but ideally you only need to do it once. And hopefully it'll, you know, be worth it. I think that was the right one. Let's go from here now. That's pretty much white, but only almost. Which makes sense, I guess. But, you know. I don't know what the difference between these two sides are. What this side is counter to this one. But it doesn't really matter because we don't need this. It's not going to be an accurate simulation. We just want something representative. And I'll probably just display the numbers as well. Now let's see. Which I was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that one. Maybe counting is a good idea. So now we'll be on the 6th. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th. So this one. I forgot what I was talking about. Be on the 7th now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. And now we'll need the 8th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's our scale. So now I'm going to collapse that. And if we save that, and will this expand now? Yes, it will. Go back to the page there. Then we have a nice scale there, which should also include black at the bottom. But because the background is black as well, that doesn't... Can't really tell, of course. Right, so then what we need is another marker. So we are going to want the marker, of course, is going to be, we're going to put it below, so it's on top. Then we're going to give it a class of marker. And we're going to call it, give it an ID of light marker. And then up here among our markers, we're going to put this light marker. Turns out I'm not super consistent with how I format the CSS. So let's fix that. Boop and boop. That'll do. Now, where was I? Right. Marker, where did it go? There it is. Okay, so we want position to be absolute. We want to rotate, no, transform, rotate 90 degrees. And voila, we actually want negative 90 degrees on that. Boop. And boop. And we want a left offset of, say, 10 pixels. Probably not enough. Let's live adjust that. So we'll have that there. 25. It can intersect a little bit, I think. Should be fine. Now, the container, which is called light container, we're actually going to This is becoming a little bit disorganized. Let's do this. Let's create separate CSS files for each of the different types. So we'll have styles, seasons, and then we're going to have styles light, and we're going to have a styles common, and then we're going to add those. So link rel style sheet, then styles common, and then seasons light. And then we're going to start moving this stuff out of here. So body is obviously common. Seasons container belongs in seasons. Marker is common. These are seasons, season stuff. Light marker is light. Season things goes in here. Ticks, that's not used, but it would be common. Then we have the seasons container. That's a season. Dial container is common. Season dial container is not common. Quadrant core and quadrants, those are common because we are going to reuse those. And then we have season, oh wait, no. Here, the quadrants, the winter, those are seasons. And then we can reformat this to space out everything out properly. Light block, this is that. And then we can just cut this whole thing out, put it in here. And we can reformat this as well. And then we can get rid of this. And that makes this file a little less of a mess, makes it easier to find what we're looking for. So where were we? Right, the light container. We will put that in here. And then we need a position absolute on that. And that should fix the marker position. Now it's slightly wrong. Want it to overlap a little, so 16 pixels there. Update that. And it looks like it's, for some reason, it's below. Oh, right. Yeah. We need a margin top and then negative pixels. And I think we need 15. Should put it about where we want. And then I'm going to add a bottom. Okay, so we need to adjust this a little more. So I kind of want it centered. Oh. Right, we want this to be margin bottom now because it's offset from the bottom. What? I spelled that wrong. Always helps if you spell things correctly. Okay, so then we only need 4 pixels there. So margin bottom 4 pixels, and then bottom 0. We are going to use that to set the position, of course. So everything looks fine. Now, if we set this, so each block is 25 pixels. So if we set this offset to 25, it should move up 1 mark. And if we set this to 125, it'll move up 5 marks, or be on the 5th position. Yeah, so that works. Now, I want to do something else. I want, well, for one thing, I want the container has a position of absolute. I want this to not be, that's not how you spell top at all. I don't want it to be right there. So we're going to move it over here for now. I'm going to lay these out in hopefully a nice manner later on to make the layout look nice. Let's copy those into the container format. Should look the same, except I reset the marker because I reloaded. That's fine. Okay, so what I want, well, for one thing, I would actually like a little bit of a border around the light container. So if I 2 pixels solid white, that works. Make it stand out from the background a little bit so you can see where it actually ends. That actually looks pretty nice. Maybe I want to have a little bit of a subtler, more subtle border. Subtler. Oh. That's, why did that break? The marker. Oh, is it because the marker inherits the border colors? Yeah. Wait. Ah, yeah. Wait. No, it doesn't inherit. Oh, the border, combined border property overrides the... But why does it have... Why does it inherit that? And why doesn't it do? Why didn't it do that in the page when I set the border there? Oh, it's probably because it doesn't see that. That's some weird behavior. I'm going to probably try to find a solution to that off camera. Now, what I want to do is because you can't necessarily, you might not want to count these. What we really want is to add a readout to this. So we're going to, in the light marker, we're going to put a span. We're going to give this an ID of light readout. And then we're going to have a number in here, say 15. Let's see how that looks. That looks absolutely terrible because it's not positioned correctly. So we'll take this, go into here, we'll collapse this again, and do that. Position, absolute, top, left. And this is going to be positioned relative to the marker, which is its parent. That's not the right set of windows. So now we can take this readout and we can move it. And of course it's rotated because the marker is rotated. I guess we could fix that by doing a transform rotate 90 degrees like that. I guess that works. Probably want this a little bigger, so let's set the font size to 14 points. Then bump that up to 20. Yeah. Then we're going to move this down a little bit and a little more to the left. And there we go. So then we'll copy these and put them in here. Format. So it looks nice. And then we can, of course, in the update function that we're going to write, function update light data, we can update the readout to read out the number. But we're going to do that in the next episode because we have run out of time. So with that, I will see you then.